Hello, I'm back here again. Now we're going to start on the portion in trigonometry where I know a lot of students do not like, which is the graph of Trigo function, how to do the sketching itself. Alright, first and foremost, take note, most of the Trigo function is either a sine or cosine graph. I will not be touching on the tangent graph today. So, basically, we are touching on the sine and cosine graph. And take note, all the forms of all Trigo functions can be written in this form. A represents the amplitude, meaning the height of the curve itself. B, in this case, is the number of complete cycle or oscillation in 360 degree or otherwise 2 pi. Whereas C is the number of units you will shift the graph up or shift the graph down. Up is when it's a positive C and down when it's a negative C itself. Okay? Now, other than your A, B, and C, you also know and is aware of this term called the period. What exactly is the period? A lot of you will tell me, period, Mr. Liu, is 360 degree divided by the B here. Or, if you want it in radian, it will be 2 pi divided by B. Yes, you are aware of knowing how to do the calculation. But what exactly is the meaning of a period? Alright? What exactly is the meaning of a period? I'm going to write it down now. Take note, the period is the amount of length it takes for one complete cycle. Or in other words, the amount of degree for one complete cycle to finish. Okay, that's actually the meaning of period itself. Alright, before the new cycle repeats again. So I say again, period is the amount of angle required of the length it takes for one complete cycle. Okay? With all this necessary information, you can solve most of the question. But now, we are going to touch on the sketching of the curve. Okay? The most important thing you need to know is amplitude. Okay? Let's take an easy curve. Take note, whenever we want to draw any curve, you must take note. One complete cycle is 360 degrees. If the value of B here is 1. Okay? And always divide into 4 equal intervals. Okay? In a portion of radian, same thing, 4 equal intervals. I'm going to draw the very first one. Okay? If I want Y is equal to sine X. Okay, based on here, obviously the amplitude is going to be 1. So please include 1 and negative 1 in this case. It means that the curve will oscillate between 1 and negative 1. Alright? Now, a sine curve will always start from 0. My way of sketching is always plot the points out. But do not have to plot it with a cross, just put it with a dot. Okay, you can do it in pencil, but today's lesson I'll do it in red so that it's obvious to you. Start from 0. Okay, it will oscillate upwards first. Go to the highest point, which is 1. Then it will go back to 0. Next, it will go all the way down to negative 1 before it goes back to 0 again. After you have indicated all your points, join them together to have a nice smooth curve. And there you have it. This is a Y is equal to sine X. But the same thing, you also need to know how to draw the usual shape of Y is equal to cosine X. Same thing, the graph of cosine X is going to oscillate between 1 and negative 1. So please include 1 and negative 1. But unlike sine, Cosine will always start with 1. Okay, the highest amplitude itself. So same thing, I'm going to do my dotting of the points before I actually join them together. Start with 1. Go to 0. The next interval, you go to -1. Go to 0 before it begins at 1 again. Alright, this is the period for one complete cycle. Join them together. There you have it. The graph of y is equal to cosine x. And you can see two lovely graphs over here. And I'm going to constantly refer to here if needed for me to do my new drawing over here. Okay, take note, this is the basic shape of how a sine and cosine graph will look like. Now, we are ready to tackle the very first question. Take a look at the question. You are supposed to draw and sketch y is equal to 3 cosine 2x plus 5 for this particular range. Alright? And state the range of y. State the range of y. Okay, few things to take note. Normally, before I begin, I will take a look first. How many cycles are there in 360? There are 2 cycles in 360 degrees. So, if it's 180, we only need to draw to 180. It's very obvious. We only need one complete cycle. Alright, this is something you need to keep in mind. It's not part of the working, but you can put it at one corner so that you're mindful. You only need to draw one complete cycle. Amplitude is going to be 3. After that, you need to shift 5 unit arcs. Okay? Now, we are ready to draw our curve. It's 180 degrees. And always divide into 4 equal portions. So at 180, half of it is 90, 45, and 3/4 of this whole thing is 135. Okay, include all the interval first. Now, the amplitude is 3. Unlike the previous one, the amplitude is 3. It means it's 1. So now, we have maximum at 3. The minimum at -3. It means that y is equal to 3 cosine 2x will oscillate between 3 and -3. And we are ready to draw our cosine curve. Remember, our cosine curve will always start at the highest point. Do my dot, go back to 0, do my dot again, go back to 0, do my dot. Now, lovely, join everything together. But please tell yourself this curve is y is equal to 3 cosine 2x. Label now, because this is not the actual answer. The actual answer needs to shift 5 units up. So same thing as what I did just now. Every single point you need to shift 5 units up. But before you can do that, take note. -3, if you shift 5 units up, it will become +2. 0, shift 5 units up, it will become 5. 3, shift 5 units up, it will become 8. Okay, this is the estimated one. Of course, if you are sketching it on your full sketch paper, please use your margin. Okay, if necessary, or if not, you can use your ruler to do the necessary measurement. Okay, now, point by point, we're going to shift upwards. 3 becomes 8. 0 becomes 5. -3 becomes 2. Alright? 0 becomes 5. Correspond accordingly. 3 becomes 8 because of the shifting of 5 units upwards. Now, we are ready to join. And this will be my actual answer. Please label down. Okay, of course you'll be telling me, but Mr. Liu, during exam or during test, everything is in pencil. So long you are able to label correctly, And if need, it's okay. But if you fear that the examiner may not be able to know which one is the actual answer, you may want to highlight this one with a different color itself. Can? But not forgetting the second part of the question. State the range of y. What do you mean by the range of y? It means for this particular graph that we have just sketched, what is the range, or rather, what are the values of y? Can you see that the values of y is at 3? Okay, sorry, this is slightly further, too much down. Is at 3. Okay, as I mentioned just now, the lowest value is at 3. What is the highest value? It's actually at 8. So it oscillates between 3 and 8. So it means that the range of y is between 3 and 8. And because we can include 3, we can include 8. So please write down your answer for the range of y in this case. And there you have it. We are done with one example.